Okay, I guess the question that we're going to ask is America a racist country? That's the question that's being asked on the campaign trail. So over the past few weeks, politicians Ron DeSantis and even Vice President Kamala Harris gave their thoughts on the divisive question. But let's look at what Nikki Haley had to say.
But I refuse to believe that the premise of when they formed our country was based on the fact that it was a racist country to start with. I refuse to believe that. I truly believe our founding fathers had the best of intentions when they started, and we fixed it along the way.
Laura,
I can't with this. Is it a
I
racist
guess I ask
country?
you, is this a racist, do you believe this is a racist country?
I mean, if slavery wasn't obvious, and maybe, schools may not be segregated as they were, as obvious before Brown versus Education, Board of Education, but they still are. The U.S. still found in 2022 that schools are segregated, and there's efforts to go back on DEI efforts in, initiatives and major institutions.
i.e. Ron DeSantis.
and even a bank recently was found to deny mortgage loans to Black people. So I'm like, it may not be as obvious, but it's still there.
All right. What do you think, DeMarco?
I mean, I think it's a loaded question, first of all.
Right.
I think that for someone to answer this question and to not acknowledge the past of the actual history of the United States is somewhat ignorant. I think that it's also, it dismisses what happened to a huge number of folks.
Right.
It dismisses stuff that has been
Not even
integrated.
black folks, like black folks, Native American people, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's so many
Hispanic
people.
people.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's still going on. I think the context is missing a lot of times when this is asked. It's like, is it still a racist country?
Yeah.
I think we definitely have a racist history, and I think there's still racism that we're fighting, but I think a lot of times the divisiveness comes in, like, do people believe this is still a racist country? And I'm like, we still are battling police brutality in ways with the Black community. So I think it's still there. I know you're not from America, but what are your thoughts?
No, I totally agree. I think racism is prevalent in Colombia, where I'm from. It's prevalent here. And I think that last line that Haley said, we worked along the way to fix it, is really the kicker. Because, I mean, we're seeing in Colorado and in Washington, officers who use force to eventually, that ends in ending the lives of people who, in the end, this family is grieving, this life is lost, and in the end, they end up being rewarded,
right,
in a way, or, acquitted. They walk away, they can lead their lives. But this is something that I think that really is something that we need to talk about. It's not just the history. This stuff is still happening. There's remnants that we need to acknowledge in order to fix.
And Nikki, I think she's one of those people that may be blind to it because they don't experience it. I think that's the difference too, in us, me being Latino.
She's a Native American woman. She identifies as being indigenous.
Well, she hasn't experienced something, is what I'm guessing.
Okay. Well, it's definitely something that we want to continue to have our eye on, because I think it's such a huge conversation and it impacts everybody that's on this stage right now. So, yeah.
We'll follow it.